Alright, this is going to be some unscripted rambling in Path of Exile to talk about what I've been doing. This league, the guild started out in a private league in Ruthless. I played our banner support, just standard banner support. You can look it up. I think Snap has a guide on what's going on. We use our own setup because this is Ruthless, but banner support doesn't change all that much. The only thing that changed really this league is that Salt and Scale is really good. And so we had like 3 of our supports running it so that they would stack up faster on enemies. We are no longer playing in the private league because we got 8 out of 8. We might regroup to do some other stuff, but we're pretty much done now. This league is really strong for Ruthless, apparently. This is my first time doing Ruthless, but the league mechanic drops a ton of loot in Ruthless. Way more than it probably should for Ruthless stuff. So we were very well geared, and then additionally, the crafting mechanic is just as powerful in Ruthless as it is in the main game, which basically just means we had a bunch of white bases that we picked up, like lapis amulets and amethyst rings, and we just go to the boat and alch them, and eventually we get some pretty decent items with life and resistances and all of our shit. So we were pretty stacked, and we were the first 8 of 8s in Ruthless, so that was fun. Other builds, I did a Luminary in Ruthless to solo farm. Where is that? Up here. This is just flame linking a kineticist. We had downtime between when the group was actually playing and wanted people to be able to run charts and stuff to farm sulfur. So at this character, it's just running Flame Link. It's the standard Flame Link setup. Gear is worse than you would have in Trade League, obviously, but one of the things that we were using as like tech that was easy to get in Ruthless was this Dread Captain's Cutlass with cursing enemies with flammability on hit. And then we were running Elemental Equilibrium, so we'd curse them with flammability, and then our smite would deal lightning damage. And then I'd manually curse with Elemental Weakness, and that would give my mercenary a lot of extra damage that you wouldn't have otherwise. I think the stats are something like only 0.2% of only 0.2% of mercenary. Sorry, 0.2% of luminaries are running Elemental Equilibrium, which is very low, I think, considering how much power it gives you. 25% LE pen is really good, and then you can get Aspect of Solaris, which scales it even better, and that's just like 25% pen that you wouldn't have otherwise. Obviously, if you're going the ring, whatever it's called, then you don't really care about Enmity's Embrace, that's its name. Then you really don't care about pen because you already have 200, right? But getting that much pen on a mercenary is non-trivial and costs a lot of other power. And so you can probably eke out a better build by dropping some life, going Elemental Equilibrium, and spending some of that power budget on your mercenaries gear for other things. Which on that note, after being done with Ruthless, I swapped over to play another Luminary. This one, I did not want to do Flame Link because it's a bit overdone in my opinion. It's not even the more powerful setup, it's just easy to build, so it's good for the League starter. Pretty much I wanted to try casters first, and so I leveled with a Stormhand that had Ball Lightning Static. That was pretty decent. And once I reached maps, I purchased this Wither Touch, and they were really strong. I just gave them some like basic chaos damage over time multiplier gear, and ran Zealotry on myself. And they just cleared maps extremely fast. They got all the way through tier 16s at like full movement speed of I'm popping my Quicksilver and just sprinting, and they would clear everything nearby because this Bane has like a 0.6 base cast time, and then their staff it was a Cane of Kulamak that had cast speed suffix, then I'm running haste, so they were just casting it extremely quickly, and they're smart about casting it so they'll only cast it on enemies that aren't cursed. So as you're clearing, they'll just like do a really good job of baning every pack. And for single target, they've got Blight and Greater Soul Rend, which they're okay. They were able to kill Maven and some Pinnacle bosses, but they weren't like popping off. I'm sure if you went really deep into this build and gave them the, I forget the name of it, the new Shaper helmet from Uber Shaper that scales damage off of evasion rating, spell damage. I'm sure if you made a setup with that like would triple their damage, and they'd probably be able to take on Uber content. But I was interested in doing Manyshot as well and trying out Destructive Link, because I think Destructive Link is a much better setup than Flame Link. Flame Link, kind of easy damage, and it makes you like generically strong with your like 20k life pool. but I think Destructive Link is a lot more interesting to build around, and it makes the mercenaries gear more interesting, it makes your players gear more interesting. So much cooler setup, and I want to say it has better scaling late game. Like once you start investing a ton of divines into the build, Destructive Link should be superior than Flame Link, just because the crit multi is really good. And so this mercenary just has a ton of Abyssal Jewels with like 5 modifiers. And so all I would do is just go to the trade, buy 4 prop Abyssal Jewels, and then just corrupt them myself until I got a 5th good modifier. These Stygian Vises with 60% elemental damage with attack skills are really easy to make. I'm not sure why they're as like expensive as they are. You just you need a high level 86 belt, which means you do a recombination between a high level 85 Stygian Vise and like an high level 86 or 87 random belt, and that's like 10C of crafting materials. Do it twice on average, and you'll get an 86 Stygian belt. And then you can just alt spam to get 80 or 60% elemental damage with attack skills, which is really good. Tomb Fist, if you do the thing where you change sockets to enchantments, you can get some good mods like blind to maim on hit, and then this one is running Searching Eye and Murderous Eye to get the bonuses of Intimidate and Onslaught on Kill. My boots also have Onslaught on Kill. You'd rather have action speed on boots, but good luck getting those. Just corrupt like 100 bubonic trails with 2 sockets, and just that sounds like hell. They're running a really good quiver with Widow Hail, and then it's just stacking standard stuff. This is Devotus with another jewel socket, chest with the jewel socket, and then frenzy charges. Standard thing with double taming, and then Marilyn's Fallacy, and then they've got Forces of Nature because they don't have a ton of penetration. These Abyssal Jewels, pretty much all of them have 2% LA pen if you haven't killed recently, which means it's up for Uber content, which is where they really need the pen anyway. I think mercenaries in general are absurdly powerful and definitely need to be nerfed in the future, because like the Flame Link setup is so absurd. The amount of power that you can get while being a tank yourself should not exist realistically. The fact that my mercenary never dies despite the fact that they don't have like any defensive rolls on like all their gear is silly. I got lucky and have life on my belt and I capped their chaos res, but that's like, this mercenary is a 3k life build doing uber content with their defenses being capped resistances, like that shouldn't be possible. You should have to invest a little bit into their defenses for them to actually be able to survive, I think. Anathema is really good. You can focus to cast your curses of Beak, Punishment, Conductivity. So I like having the Anathema set up. You do lose a little bit of reservation efficiency, but obviously I can fit everything in still. I failed to hit Aspect of Solaris on my shield. I have Lunaris instead, and I'm not even reserving it at this point. I'm running Determination instead. But Lunaris would be really good. Same as I mentioned on my other Luminary. Elemental Equilibrium is really strong, especially if you're pathing down here for Leader of the Pack anyway. It's 1 point for that. And then to make it deal only cold damage, I have Bitter Frost. So my Smite only does cold damage, which means they always get hit with Weak. If you don't have Bitter Frost, then your Smite converts some of your Fizz to Elemental, which is annoying because then you're hitting with lightning damage. You have to get rid of the lightning damage but still do cold damage, which realistically just means you're relying on Frostblink for that cold damage, which is functional, but it's less good compared to smiting. In terms of future builds, the thing that I've been looking on, I'm basically just going to be playing Luminaries all league. The major thing that I've been looking at are these Swift Blades with Rallying Cry. These seem like they can pop off really hard. People have been doing Facebreaker, but you can do Void Forge as well. The thing that I'm planning to do is Dancing Dervish. Usually is really hard to scale because it's kind of a shitty sword, so it has bad base damage, and then you're giving up your weapon and your offhand in order to use the sword, which loses a lot of power, and then you're trying to get flat damage, and then you can't scale gem levels because it's an inbuilt gem, and so it's really difficult to scale Dancing Dervish, and my hope is that I can just give this guy a super strong axe and have that scale my Dancing Dervish. I believe this one is the one that has Pride, and so that one I'm planning to go Pure Fizz. And then the other idea that I've had that workshopping still is running this guy. He doesn't have Pride because the plan is to run this with a Void Forge and have either animate weapon of self-reflection or chains of command, one of those two. And that hopefully will be really good because this guy will give your minions a ton of flat physical, and then there'll be Void Forges, which have 7%, 700% up to 800% with Tempering Orbs, Fizz as a random element. So they should be pretty crunchy, and especially if I'm going Chains of Command, that'll be like a truly AFK build because the Mercenary can also wear the ring that spawns worms, which will keep the weapons animated because the animated Guardian can be the one killing them. So it should be chill as fuck. Oh, the thing that I'm obviously not mentioning, you can just not take Oath of Fealty. Like, this is really nice quality of life, right? But link skills have a really long duration by default. So if I go to Blood Aqueducts, my mercenary, it does mean that I have to press the button, but it lasts 17 seconds. So I do not need to press it very often, and I have no qualms with pressing the button. And that earns me 2 extra unique items, which is 16% more damage, as well as more abyssal sockets. Because if I didn't have these unique items, then I'd give up. I'd have to give up the Devotos and the Bubonic Trails. I'd definitely be keeping the Tomb Fist. So I'd be losing 1 abyssal socket on the Bubonic Trails, and I'd still have a rare with an abyssal socket as my helmet. But I would lose the 16% attack speed from Devotos, which is a lot of attack speed. So highly recommend dropping Oath of Fealty if you are Destructive Link. There's like 5 people on PoE Ninja that have Destructive Link and are running Golden Glory. Don't do that. Do not run Golden Glory if you're doing Destructive Link. It has, well, mine only has 30 because I'm keeping it at gem level 1. But if you're going to gem level 20 with yours, Oath of Fealty only represents like 50 crit multi, and that's just not worth 2 ascendancy points compared to taking more unique items. So, hot tip, don't just do that. I guess to cover PoE 2 stuff as well, the last build I played that I haven't talked about was a Flameblast Contagion Gemling Legionnaire, using Frost Flame Nova as a secondary. If you want a proper guide for this, I basically just ripped this build straight up from Sergeant Minor. I've made a couple differences, like I'm going more into debuff soul magnitude than he is, and I have way more investment than he did. Just because you can get these 5 prop jewels with a ton of ignite magnitude, spell damage, and stuff like that. So if you want to scale the build, you definitely can, though it's absolutely not needed because this build does, right now, an absurd amount of damage because quality stacking on Flameblast gives you magnitude of damage elements per stage, and then you just stack up 10 stages and you obliterate everything. And Contagion for clear, and then for single target, once you get the ignite on the enemy, you can do Frost Flame Nova, which will cause them to freeze very quickly and take a ton of extra damage, because we're also using Terran Shiver as our weapon swap. I suppose the only like major tech that I'm using on this build that I think more people should is if you are, I mean, I'm not literally Mind Over Matter because it's a big downside, but if you're using anything Mind Over Matter adjacent of take damage from Mana Before Life, this Uthred's Chalice is really good. So you can just like, I'm using Refutation, which has Overflowing Chalice on it, so I pop that and then I press this button 3 times. Because I'm wearing a build that has 20% of life flask recovery applied instantly, I press that and I instantly go to overcapped mana, because this flask lets you overflow your mana. So if you just press it once, let's get my mana down again. I just press it once, it'll fill me up, but in the pinch of a moment, it has a ton of mana, and then the 20% instant means that I can just spam it and get a ton of effective HP back. And then the other tech that pretty much everyone knows about at this point is you can, if you use amulets and rings that give you extra skill sockets, you can socket extra gems into those broken sockets, and then when you remove those items, the skills stay behind, but you still get the motes that you want. So I'm using them for a bunch of strength motes for extra life. And yeah, defensively this build is very good and has armor stacking with a bunch of armor applies to Ellie. Yeah, ton of armor applying to Ellie, decent bit of max resistances. It's pretty good. And then I'm running rarity because it's PoE 2. Putting rarity on all your gear is a good time. I'm pretty sure I had something else to say, but at this point I've forgotten it. So end of the video. Have fun. Path of Exile is a good game. I've been getting back into playing Space Station 14 again now. since League Start is over, so probably not next week because I'm going to be visiting my parents, but the week after that, I will maybe go back to making a couple videos. I've got some green shifts lined up where I had some good RP there, and then I have some antag shifts that were fun and would be good to turn into videos, so look forward to those, and maybe more Path of Exile builds if the Luminary ends up popping off.